that is kindly shakening because I think Suzuki, Honda, and everybody said, oh, nobody can make a car at that cheap and it can be safe and all that. And this was a car made completely in India with, all pollution norms being met, all safety norms being met. And I think soon you'll be seeing this going to be, these kind of inputs going into software, into technologies and pretty much everything which touch people's life.
I think innovation in India is coming from the youth. They do not have any baggage, any legacy of the past. They do not want to do things in a linear manner. They just want to leapfrog on the technology front. And talking about the development of this $2,000 car, the Nano, it was a 500 people team, the design team, and the average age of the team was 27 years. So you had a bunch of youngsters trying to develop the world's cheapest car, and that too in a record time of a year and a half. So it was mind-boggling what the youth can do, because they do not have any sort of limitations, any constraints of the past, any program way of thinking. They just want to do things their way and come up with a solution which is for the masses.
Ram Sridham, the first investor in Google, also an Indian by origin, he was in Bangalore 1.5 years back, and he set up a fund, and he said he's betting on the mobile opportunity in India, and he assumed that soon a $1 billion company out of India will come out of the country with a global scale. Do you see that already anywhere on the horizon? Your company maybe?
Absolutely. As I said, that in the technology space, Cisco has made India as their global headquarters after the one they have in Silicon Valley. Microsoft, a lot of the stuff has already been made in India. So it's kind of replicating the Silicon Valley model. All these guys are here, and now people who are working in Google and Microsofts of the world are coming out and making their own company. So I was just there last week in an event in Chennai, which was pretty much like what you see in the US, where startups come and present to you, and there's a bunch of VCs evaluating plans. So that kind of things have happened, which was completely unknown a few years back. A few years back, you had to go and scout for, where are the startups. And today, you can very easily come find startups and invest in them. And of course, like everywhere else, out of 1,000 startups, 99% might fail, but the 1% which is going to make it is going to change the world. And I think here is there again where there's a difference in what works in India and what may be potentially exportable. For example, one of the largest internet success story in India is matrimonial sites. And this is very serious stuff. This is not dating where somebody puts an anonymous thing, hey, I want to meet a girl. This is where parents probably actually go and buy advertising space for their daughter and want to kind of get them married. And it's incredible on how that market has grown. So again, something completely unique and
the market leader in this space, matrimonial sites, Shadi.com, has just raised $25 million from private equity.
Sequoia,
yeah.
Assuming positively that some of our guests in the audience have gotten a sort of appetite to embark on the India opportunity, what do you think is a good way to go about that? Is it going there, doing a startup? Is it partner with a company if you have already some substance? Or would you set up a fund yourself? A few thoughts from your end, because you're also doing this sort of business.
No, clearly what's important is to understand the market fairly deeply. India is not one market, is many markets roll into one. Different parts of the country are very different from what you see in Bombay and Bangalore. So one is a deep down understanding of the market. Second is to what extent you need to modify your business model, your product offering to suit the low cost, high volume business which India is all about. So you need a lot of modification to your approach to the market. And thirdly, having a good set of people, either people whom you hire on your own or partnering with an Indian company to really then make on-the-ground difference from your compete out there. Those are three most important things. And there's, of course, things like regulations and all, but you have firms like Ernst & Young to help you navigate that.
Yeah, that is the politically correct answer. Let me give you the right answer. We don't need your money. India has, I think, over $5 billion waiting to get invested in companies. Recently, there was an IPO where they raised in 60 seconds, $4 billion? And you name it, and Silicon Valley investors have offices, they have people. You hit a stone and it's going to hit a VC in India. That's the situation today with private equity. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur. They have a lot of choices today. So if you just go there and say, here's $1 million or here is $100 million, believe me, you may you've just shown a cold shoulder. So I think to do business in India, you have to get your hands dirty. You have to go, what I call fly in and fly out operators, who come in from the morning flight, make presentations and go. Those kind of operators just won't be successful. I think you need to make a serious bet in India. Come there, spend time there, get your hands dirty, meet entrepreneurs, and that is what will get you the big deals. You can get, into some of those things by luck or chance, but if you really want to make it big, you have to take it as a serious opportunity. That's what your friends in Silicon Valley have already done. That's what I think a lot of people in the UK are doing, and I think that is what is actually required.
Yeah, from our own experience, it's not that difficult to start up a company in India. There's a bit of bureaucracy in the beginning, but once you're behind that and really start networking and getting to know people, which is really absolutely essential in India. For instance, an example, I'm German by origin, but it's quite unheard of that you might be able to call up an executive at any time. He'll be annoyed with his mobile phone. But in India, it's totally normal that you call up somebody and say, oh, I'm in a meeting, can I call you back? So this kind of making yourself available to have that kind of connection is extremely, extremely important. And for that, what Vishal said is pretty right. You have to be there and get your contacts running. On another line, you are with offices around the world. So does it make sense for a media company, a digital company, to seek out for partners to help them enter into the markets in Europe or in Germany?
Yeah, I think that would make sense. And, I think we do partner with some local companies, for example, in Spain and other markets where it's difficult for us to directly enter in. And I think that's definitely an opportunity, and Germany is quite a complex market to maneuver for companies. We are far more comfortable doing business in UK and US, partly because of the language and things like that, and so I think there is definitely an opportunity there.
I think what's an interesting trend now emerging is media companies from India are beginning to make global acquisitions. So we had UTV acquiring a gaming company in the UK. BBC, when they sort of put out bids for their studio business and the post-production business, 3 of the 10 bidders were from India. And there's right now a situation where an Indian multiplex chain, cinema chain, has just acquired a chain in the US. So clearly, something which you could not have imagined just about 6 to 8 months back is now becoming reality, and Indian media companies are feeling much more confident and getting much more aggressive and trying to get more global. And
acquiring Jaguar, right? That is also...
Yeah.
Which is also a good sign, because it looks really like the market is open, both inbound and outbound, and ultimately your company, India Games, has been acquired by Tom 3 years ago.
Tom, and now UTV and Cisco and Adobe and too many people.
All right, gentlemen, I think our time is almost up, so thank you very much for listening early in the morning on this Monday, and thanks a lot for the guests on the panel, Farokh and Vishal. And with that, we'd like to wrap up the India session and over to Andreas with China. Thank you very much.
Okay. René, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I have never been to India, and I was just shocked about the parallels in my China experience from the last 15 years compared to the India experience here. So many of the stories I had prepared for the introduction, I can basically save the time for the panelists, because you have heard the stories how young people are, that it's in the billions of people, etc. and so on. I would like to start by thanking the Hause Burda here for inviting us to talk to you for half an hour about China, to discuss the opportunities there. And I know that you're asking why a German guy who teaches in America is standing here in front of you. And my simple story is that I have actually myself been teaching in China since 1994. And next time I actually be back there in March this year to teach at Tsinghua in INSEAD, a course on the global networked economy. And I've been working with some large companies in China, like Alibaba, thanks to Chauncey, but also with small startups like Xiaomi, the Chinese Facebook clone, which was actually acquired by Mob.com a year ago, or with Yobo, a Chinese music recommendation system, which is still in the startup stage. It's an honor for me to introduce the 2 friends I have here. Yatsiu, he is the CEO of a Hong Kong company where he sends out about 2 billion emails a month. So pretty sure some of you have gotten some emails from you. And I would like to introduce Chauncey.